What was ruined for everybody by one person? The shoe bomber. The world, by the parent who was supposed to be watching their kid at the Cincinnati Zoo. Back in the Middle Ages when I was a child in Detroit, the electric company gave out free light bulbs. You kept the burn-out ones in a bag, and when it was full, Dad would take it to Detroit Edison and exchange them for free ones. Then some guy who owned a store, I remembered it as a pharmacy, sued because he couldn't sell light bulbs, and that was the end of free light bulbs. The toothbrush mustache, made famous by people like Charlie Chaplin and Oliver Hardy, ruined forever by Hitler. The kid who jumped off of 7th floor of a building here in Turkey because he thought he was a Pokemon. They stopped airing the show because people thought it was bad influence on kids. And Pokemon was huge back when I was a kid, so pretty much every kid back then was devastated. What is the one thing you have when you were 17 and don't have now? Friends. Optimism for the future and the will to live. Being able to get up 0 times for a pee during the night. Patience for stupid people. My full brain. Literally, at age 17 I had brain surgery, which removed a golf ball-sized portion of my right temporal lobe. Very thankfully it was a complete success and I haven't had a single seizure in over a decade, after being born epileptic. Amazingly, I didn't even lose any functionality after the surgery. And all it cost me was a golf ball-sized piece of brain. The ability to disconnect and actually be out of touch. The 90s were great for that. Not sure. Better memory perhaps. Knees that actually work. What's the most American thing a person can do? Be born in America. Have bare arms. American flag in the front yard. Have a bunch of people over for the Super Bowl. Drink beer and eat brats and burgers with chips. Sing America. Fuck yeah, from the Team America. World Police movie over and over again. Refer to any black person anywhere in the world as African American. I once saw a U.S. news anchor refer to Nelson Mandela as the first African American to serve as president of South Africa, and I thought, he's not American. Go into medical bankruptcy because they couldn't afford to get their bullet wounds fixed up. Drive their Chevy to the levee but the levee was dry? Why? What yells I have no life? Being way too invested in what other people are doing and judging them for it with no good reason. Social media in a nutshell. I completed one piece in just 1 month. Looking through this thread and seeing if any answers apply to you. Starting workplace drama. Coming up to your job on your off day to socialize. When I worked retail, there were a few people who did this, even after they got fired. Turned out they were part of an organized theft group which included some supervisors and managers. And #X200B. So, they did have a life. A life of crime. Being a Reddit mod and thinking it's a legitimate job. Too caught up in other people's. Making multiple accounts on any social media platform and having conversations with yourself. 50 million power on Rise of Kingdoms. Those who have got caught watching porn as kids, how did your parents find out? My dad took my iPod Touch away when I was 13 as a punishment for something, and I called him at work and asked him to please delete the search history without looking at it. 3 seconds later he said, "So, sexy Asian girls, huh?" I found my dad's VHS collection when I was a teen. One time I forgot to put one of the tapes back. Actually, I specifically recall the movie was Trampire. Anyhow, my dad comes into my room a few days later and says, "If you borrow my shit, put it back where you found it. We're never discussing this again." Used mom's phone. Didn't know about browsing history.